Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. Surviving a narcissist. Hi, everybody. After reading a lot of your stories, it is time for me to share mine. 12 years ago, I, 32 male, met Claire, 31 female. It was my first serious relationship, and I thought I could never be happier. Fast forward 7 years and a baby boy later, I decided to go back to school since I stopped in order to support her during her nursing school. We already were in a rough patch. I was really stressed out by school and did not get any support from her. I resented her because I gave up a lot. I lost a lot of friends, could not participate in any hobbies I used to have because she did not want me to leave her alone even for a few hours. And the dummy that I was thought it was normal to sacrifice that much for her. Every time that I would raise concern about us, especially our sex life that was almost dead, it was always my fault and I had to deal with it. But if she was the one raising concerns, of course I was to blame. I was clearly not perfect, but I was doing my best. Everything was shared equally between us. Maybe it took a bit more care of our son than her. One day, she was crying in her living room. I went to comfort her, and then she told me that she slept with a coworker a few days prior and could not hide it from me anymore. I blew up and told her to get out of her house. Next, I informed her that I needed a week to decide what would happen to us. I learned later that she went straight back to him when I threw her out, but still she kept apologizing and wanting us to stay together. After a few days, I realized that the only reason to stay with her was our son. I decided that I did not want my son to grow up with non-loving parents, so I left her. She tried to manipulate me to go back to her with our son, then tried to commit suicide and so on. Then still seeing a fair partner at the same time. Nothing worked, so she decided to ruin me financially, thinking I would go back to her that way. At some point, I had more than 15,000 euros in debt and would probably be homeless a few months later. Then, she sold my car, which I was paying for, but was in her name. I know, I'm a dummy. At this point, I lost it. Reached out to my family and friends, who lived more than 15,000 kilometers away. They bought me a plane ticket, and 1 month later, I was gone home, and I could finally try to recover from it all. It has now been a few years. I unfortunately see my son only 2.5 months every year, but I am in a much better place. I would probably be dead if I stayed there, and I think I did the best I could with the hand I was dealt with. I still am really close with my son despite the distance, and I hope someday when old enough, he will decide to live with me. I don't know if my story can help anyone, but all I have to say is that whatever happened to you, you will get past it and even grow from it. Don't despair. Everything will be okay. P.S. Sorry for the English. It is not my native language. Pereira 1955 says, IOP, you're a great guy, never a dummy. You left her as soon as she told you she cheated and never took her back. You have done the right thing. However, can you explain to us how she broke you financially without your permission? DOP responds, in short, we shared our finances. She spent everything. Then I needed her to make some official papers in order for me to be able to gain help from our Social Security in order to pay for a nanny while I was in school. I was paid half the minimum wage during my studies, and when I paid rent and the nanny, I was already a few hundred in the red. Multiply it by 8 months, and there you go, 15K in debt. A week in The Guardian chimes in, why don't you get custody and stay in the family home? You left her and your son and now only see him a couple months a year? You gave that woman too much control during and after the marriage. Oki responds, I clearly gave her too much control during our relationship, but after, she had control because the court gave her. The family home was a rental, and I did throw her out. I canceled the lease 2 months after and got a 2-bedroom apartment. For the first 8 months, I had 50-50 custody. I was on an island 15,000 kilometers from any family and friends. When I couldn't take it mentally and financially and left, even if I had proof that I was the one that took better care of my son, the court did not give a F and gave her custody, and I got 2.5 months a year. Moving on. Opinions on my wife's recent actions? It's a long story. Say a while back, probably a couple weeks ago, we were on the topic of her ex because I was curious. She mentioned stuff they'd done, but never tell me about it. She ended up telling me that she doesn't want to tell me about him because it's sensitive. He was her first love. She will always have love for him, and she's ruined last relationships before because when he comes around, she drops everything and everyone for him because she can't help herself around him. Remember that for the rest of the story. A little over a week ago, she started talking to an old best friend of hers on Snapchat, and that they've been on a date, and that's it. And I don't think anything of it because I trusted her. But ever since she started talking to him on Snapchat, she's acted different. She doesn't give me as much affection. She calls me by my name, not by what she normally calls me. She tries to have as much alone time away from me as possible, and she doesn't talk to me very much over the phone anymore. For the time she wakes up till the time she goes to bed, she's on Snapchat with him. I talked to her about how I think it's making me uncomfortable that she talks to him because she acts weird now, and she's talking to him so much. She blew me off and got mad, accusing me of not trusting her. So after that talk, she's been secretly talking to him. She won't talk to him when I'm around, but if she's getting alone time in the room doing her nails while I'm in the living room, she's texting him. If she or I use the bathroom, she'll text him. If I go get the mail or start the car in the morning, first thing she does is text him. Now I'm very uncomfortable and brought it up again. Just more of her not letting me talk and yelling at me and accusing me of not trusting her. She guards her phone more, won't leave it laying around even if it's to use the bathroom or check on the dinner that's cooking. She leaves it face down constantly, never used to. She stopped giving me time and attention and love since she got into contact with him. I feel like she's giving all the love, time, and attention to him now because she's so happy when she's on her phone, but off the phone, she seems bored and uninterested. That's the first part. Here's the second part. So the ex I told you to remember, he currently has possession of an old car she makes payments on still. She told me that when I'm out to sea, she's going to fly down there for a few days and stay at his place so she and her old friend can sell the car. Now automatically I'm concerned. She acts weird now that she talks to this friend, and now she's going to have him help her sell this car. And she's going to stay at the ex's house that she said she can't help herself around and cheated in relationships for him for a few days while I'm out. So, 1, she doesn't care that I feel uncomfortable with her talking to the friend and still decides to actually go see him. And 2, she insists on going to her ex's house and staying there to sell her car, all while she admitted to me that she doesn't trust herself around him. I talked to her about how I don't feel comfortable with any of this, and before I could finish telling her that, she blew up and yelled and told me, "If you say you are trusting me one more time, I'm leaving you." She said this multiple times before. I gave in and was like, "Fine, but I do not want you staying at his house." And she made a joke saying, "That's fine, I'll just sleep in bed with my old friend." I did not find that funny at all. She doesn't seem to care. Yesterday, I brought it up again because I can't stop thinking about how uncomfortable I am with her talking to this guy, seeing this guy, and staying with the ex she continuously cheated with in the past. Once again, she didn't let me finish, left for a few hours, and I convinced her to come back. In bed, she compared me to her ex in a bad way by saying, "You know, my ex didn't hover over me like you are." And rather than flipping my crap on her, I got out of bed and slept alone. She's unfazed by it. She doesn't seem to care about how I feel towards the situation, or care about me in general. And because she doesn't care about me or how I feel, I see it as a sign that she does not care for the marriage. Because in my eyes, all of this is a big red flag. I do not want to continue a marriage that has zero communication. Regardless of how hard I try to communicate, she won't listen to me or take me and my feelings into consideration. She doesn't care that it's making the marriage unhealthy that she's acting like this. In all honesty, I feel that she has an emotional affair with her old friend, and that's why she's so defensive when I bring it up. And I feel that when she flies down for her car, she will sleep with one or both of them. I feel like the only option is to divorce her because if my wife cared about me and cared about our marriage, she would listen to me and talk to me, and out of respect for her husband, stop talking to that friend and cancel that flight. She has told me that she's unhappy and doesn't want to be with me anymore if I continue acting this way. Our first bit of advice comes from Sage Observer. She's manipulating you. Flip the situation back on her. If she goes to other plans, you'll consider the marriage over and file for divorce. The OP replies, "I'm giving her a week to come to the realization that it is unacceptable and inexcusable. If she doesn't, I have a storage unit paid for already and will disappear." Raj Quisme chimes in. "In this week's time, find a good divorce attorney and get the papers ready. By the end of the week, ask her what she has decided. If she says she's going to continue with her plan, just give her a smile. Then, contact a lawyer to serve her the papers before she leaves. Make sure to contact her parents and let them also know the reason why you have decided to divorce her. Once she leaves, if the house is in your name, pack her things and move it to a storage. Send her the details of the storage too. Block her on all social media and your mobile phone. She might go and have fun with him and then return to you and then manipulate you to take her back. Do not fall for it. I wish you all the best." Front Relief 7611 has a nice quip. "Betting the friend she's talking to so much is the ex." Judgmental Panda has a thought too. "What I was thinking too. I'd imagine it would be easy as heck to just save his contact and go with someone else and biola, friend equals ex. As to the OP, the point to consider divorce was when she mentioned that she would leave you because she loves him more, as she had every other relationship in the past. That tells you, 1, that you are her second best at best, and 2, that she will cheat on you. Since she has no issue seeking her ex out, she is literally just treating you like a placeholder. I'm sorry to say this all, and just hope the healing process will be as fast as possible." Krenok has our closing dot. "If there is no respect and no trust in a marriage, then the marriage won't exist much longer. Go to your wife, tell her to give you her phone so that you can read their texts. She will reply that you don't trust her, to which you could say that she is right. since she is acting shady, wants to stay close with a guy that she can't help herself around, and another guy that she is talking to more than you, she's giving you every reason not to trust her. Add to that how she acts differently towards you, and it leads to the situation you are in now. She won't give you her phone, so you need to be prepared for that. She will be upset and whatnot. That is the time when you need to be stern. That you don't give me your phone tells me all I need to know. Don't expect me to still be here when you get back from your trip. Something like that should be a reply to her, but be aware, if you say something like that and don't do it afterwards as well, that she will never respect you again. Ask her for her phone right when she is talking to that guy, and if she isn't giving it to you or you see her quickly deleting stuff, then you are out. Let her be upset or throw accusations at you. That all doesn't matter. You give her this one chance, and her reaction will decide what you do next.